How we doing, everybody? UFC Thoughts here, and today, I was messing around with some tier list video ideas, and I came across this one that just has a bunch of fighters on it, so I thought I would try to describe and lay out what I believe is going to entail the rest of the year for these specific fighters. You got a lot of young prospects on here, you got some older fighters, and some actual ranked talent. So let's just get right into it with a prospect, nonetheless, Mauricio Rufy. Where do I believe? I think Mauricio Rufy will become ranked in the top 15, possibly. He's either maybe ranked or a fringe contender. I don't know if he gets enough push to make the top 10. He might. He might just do that if he fights active enough, which he might. A lot of mights there, a lot of possibility there. But I think Mauricio Rufy, he is a fighter they are going to push heavily in the coming days, or not coming days, fucking coming months for the rest of the year, considering he got a crazy knockout over Bobby Green at UFC 313. He's calling for Beneil Dariush. I don't believe he's going to get a Beneil Dariush matchup. I do believe that is kind of wishful thinking on his part, but I do think that he can get a top 15 fight, possibly. I mean, Rafael Fiziev, if he stays at 155, that'd be a banging fucking fight. If Beneil Dariush is the matchup, you can make that as well. But I think Beneil Dariush and Renato Moicano is a perfect fight to make considering the time frames. Another top 15 guy would be Joel Alvarez. He's either... But Joel's talking about moving up to 170 as well. I think he'll be a fringe. I think Joel Alvarez might... No, he'll be top. It's weird because a lot of speculation is considering Joel Alvarez is going to fight Benoit Saint-Denis next. That is a lot of speculation in there. Benoit Saint-Denis actually just claimed that he's fighting at UFC 315 in Montreal, Canada. So that might be the matchup they make. But he also said something about fighting at welterweight again. Benoit, someone commented like 77 kg, which is 170 pounds. And he was like, that sounds interesting. So I don't know if that's the matchup they're going to make. If Joel Alvarez stays at lightweight, he should become a top 15 fighter. If he moves up to 170, he'll probably be a fringe contender. So based on the weight class he's in right now, I'm going to go with maybe ranked top 15. But I don't know. Francis Ngannou doesn't fight this year. I don't know why he's on here. He's not a UFC fighter anymore. He's not under contract. Joan Silva. Got a lot of prospects. He'll be a top 10 fighter, I believe, by the end of the year. Joan Silva, in 2 weeks. Next weekend, actually, he fights Bryce Mitchell, who's number 13 or 12, I believe. If he beats Bryce Mitchell, which I believe he will, Joan Silva will get a humongous fight afterwards. Whether it be, if he knocks out Bryce Mitchell, they're gonna send him off to fucking boot camp, put him against Aljo, put him against Arnold Allen, put him against Yair Rodriguez, depending on how the Patricio Pitbull fight goes. Joan Silva will become a top 10 fighter by the end of the year, mark my words. He's too powerful and too dynamic, and it's not like he's that bad of a grappler. Now, Bryce Mitchell, that is a matchup that can cause problems for him, don't get me wrong. But I do believe Joan Silva will surpass it. Khamzat Chimaev, he'll become a champion by the end of the year. He will beat Dricus du Plessis by the end of the year, mark my words. If he doesn't, then, what are you going to do? But I do believe he already is a top 5 fighter. He's going to become champion. If him and Dricus du Plessis fight, I do see him finishing Dricus in the first round with a submission or ground and pound TKO. Dricus du Plessis can win that matchup significantly more than a lot of other people. But it's the fact that I personally believe Robert Whittaker is a better defensive scrambler than Dricus du Plessis is. And Robert Whittaker got absolutely murdered in the first round. Now, albeit he did break his jaw because he did have prior jaw injury. But Khamzat, the way he was controlling Robert and didn't even let him breathe, that's very good. And Dricus does have great cardio. He does. But it's like one of those goofy goober type fights, and I think Khamzat Chimaev will find a finish either way, maybe first or second round. Maybe Dricus starts having success, gets taken out again. Another middleweight fighter in Israel Adesanya. Does he become washed or lose again? I think these are for like they become. Like they don't stay there. I think Israel will lose again. Nah, he'll become washed. 4 in a row for Israel is washed. That is a washed fighter. Because, it depends on the matchup. If he fights Caio Borralho, I think Caio Borralho probably beats Israel. I think he's too good at mixing it up and can get in, mix in takedowns, mix in the clinch threat, threaten Israel, hits hard enough to possibly find a finish. That's if Israel fights again this year, which is a hard if. Because Israel, he isn't probably going to be the most active. If he fights again, it'll probably be near the end of the year or beginning of next year. But if he fights like Roman Dolidze, he'll still be a top 5 fighter. They're going to fucking give him Roman. You know what? He'll be a top 5. Fuck it. Forget all I said. Because his next fight will probably be Roman Dolidze. They'll probably make that fight for no fucking reason. But he'll win that. He should beat Roman Dolidze. And Israel will stay in the top 5. But I don't think it's like... Because, like, he'll win. But fucking... Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, I think, will stay a top 10 contender. I think Arnold Allen... I don't know who he's going to fight, honestly. Beat Giga Chikadze. Maybe they do him versus, like, a Yusuf Zalal, possibly. Or they do... No, Giga's fighting David Onama, actually. I think Arnold Allen, whoever he fights next, if they're under him, he probably wins. I think Arnold Allen is honestly super underrated when it comes to, like, people's talking about him. He's genuinely really good. Very powerful, very technical striker, very big for the weight class as well. Doesn't get talked about enough. He's very under the radar. I think Arnold Allen will probably stay in the top 10. Brendan Allen, I think he loses again. I think he'll probably be... I think he'll lose again. He'll stay in the top 15, but he'll lose again. Lost earlier this year to Anthony Hernandez, and then lost like a week later in a grappling match to Caio Borralho. I think Brendan Allen... it depends on who he fights. If he fights, like, if Renier de Ritter or Bo Nickel, whoever wins that, fights him next, I think both of those guys are very tough matchups for Brendan Allen. I think Brendan Allen probably does lose his next fight. It just depends on who he fights. But I sense they're going to use him as a kind of way to build up a fighter, because Brendan Allen at one point was on like a 7-fight win streak. They can use the fact that he's gone to a decision with Imavov and Hernandez when other people haven't done that. You know what I mean? Like, Israel got knocked out by an Imavov in the second round. Michel Pereira was getting dominated for 5 rounds, and Brendan Allen still kind of made it a little competitive. So I think they could use that type of ideal, like, propaganda to push a fighter off of beating him. Jailton Almeida, he'll stay in the top 5 or enter the top 5. I don't think he's in the top 5. Is he in the top 5? Is he 5 or 6? I don't know. I think Jailton Almeida will win his next fight, depending on who they give him. If they give him Volkov, I sadly think that Malhadinho wins that fight, because I like Jailton Almeida. I actually am probably one of the only people that fucks with him. I think Jailton Almeida is really fucking good, especially for heavyweight. Not like striking wise. I think his striking is still a little subliminal, but he did rock Sergey Spivak and then finished him with ground and pound, or found the finish thereafter. His ground game is very high level considering the state of the heavyweight division. Dude, they could give like Jailton fucking Marcin Tybura next. Like, they might fight, he might fight Marcin Tybura possibly. That is a definite possibility. Which I think we all know who would win that. Marcin Tybura would, no, Jailton would fuck him. Ankalaev stays the champion. I'll actually move these around to make it heaviest to lightest. Ankalaev, if he fights Pereira, I do believe Ankalaev will win a rematch, more than likely. If Pereira goes into the rematch believing he needs to be more threatening, more active, he will most likely get chinned in a sense. Ankalaev, high guard, grapple threat as well, can control the cage if he ever so feels like it. Boxing very well, very defensively sound in that fight. I don't think he'll change much. And Pereira will try to change a lot, but I think Ankalaev's style just will still constantly work against Alex Pereira, sadly. But I think Ankalaev is very good. I think he'll stay the champion. Kaya Sakura. This is a weird one, because it entirely depends on his matchmaking as well. I think Kaya Sakura might fight Tim Elliott next, and I think he beats Tim Elliott. So I'll go top 15. He's either a maybe 15 or like a lose again kind of guy. Like, if they feed him to like Tagir Ulanbekov, I think Tagir Ulanbekov is a very tough fight for Kaya Sakura, but I think if they give him like a Tim Elliott, maybe Kaya Sakura might win. Tom Aspinall, he will stay the champion no matter what happens. If him and John Jones fight, right, I believe Tom Aspinall will win. I think that is a very winnable fight for both, but I think Tom Aspinall has the right tools and right timing to TKO John Jones. And even if him and John Jones fight and Tom loses, Tom is never the guy to want to stay inactive. If John beats Tom Aspinall, he will just retire and end on that. And then Tom will fight fucking probably like Gone for the vacant title. And I think Tom beats everybody else at heavyweight. I think his toughest fight would maybe be a Jailton Almeida, just because of how strong he is as a wrestler. But I think Tom Aspinall, champ either way. Ignacio Bahamondes. Ignacio will still be a top 15 fighter. I don't know, because I feel like Ignacio is going to become like a Matt Frivola in a way where he'll become ranked. He'll beat a number 13 guy like Matt Frivola, chins Drew over, becomes number 15, and then they make him fight down for some reason his first fight back. And Ignacio, he usually takes, 5 months off, maybe 6 months off from fight to fight. Ignacio will probably fight one more time. I imagine Ignacio's going to look to get on UFC 320 or he might fight earlier. Ignacio can try and get a fight in between, but I think Ignacio will probably fight on 320, that UFC Noche card, later this year. He'll fight probably then, maybe once earlier before that, but I think they're going to give Ignacio like a very tough fight. Like maybe they rebook him and, not rebook, but rematch him and Ludovic Klein, maybe for him versus Mateusz Romecki or something along those lines, to try and like make him use his ranking and defend it first, because Jalen Turner was on a losing streak, Jesus Christ. Or like he won one of his last 5, right? That's not very good. So Ignacio, I think they're going to use him as like you become ranked, cool, defend your spot first, and then you can fight up for some reason. I don't know why I feel like that way, but I feel like they do that a lot at lightweight with a lot of people. And Ignacio, he's popular in a sense, but he isn't like, I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of aura about him. I don't know what it is. Like Benoit Saint-Denis had crazy aura. Jan, I think he'll be retired. I think Jan either doesn't fight or retires at the end of the year. I'll probably go cut. Not cut, but retire. I think Jan Blachowicz, no, he'll fight one more time. But I think he won't fight another time this year. Jan Blachowicz was never the most active fighter anyways, so I don't think it'll change much. I do believe that he will lose his next fight, depending on who it is. If they give him like a like imagine they did him versus like Khalil Roundtree now that Jamal Hill's out, right? Imagine they did that matchup. Or they did him versus like Krylov, which they already did fight in Jan 1, but Nikita Krylov looks really good now, right? Or like if Dominic Reyes even beats Nikita Krylov and then they rematch him and Jan Blachowicz, I don't know. I think that Jan Blachowicz won't fight again. There's not really a matchup that makes sense for him. You know what I mean? Like there's not a fight that makes sense for him at the moment, and there won't be for a while because Jan is just there. Curtis Blades, still a top 5 guy. He'll beat Rizvan Kuniev. I believe they're trying to get him in Rizvan in Azerbaijan, June 21st, because that fight's been rebooked 4 different times for no reason. So I believe that Curtis will just stay top 5. He'll beat that fat fuck and then probably not fight for the rest of the year. Kyle Bahalio, I think he'll become a top 5 fighter by the end of the year. I think Kyle Bahalio and Robert Whittaker will fight, and I think that he beats Robert Whittaker. I think Kyle Bahalio is the most well-rounded of the fighting nerds. He's also the most tested that we've seen, and he's passed the test with flying colors. You know, the Cannonier fight was still competitive, you know what I mean? But I think Kyle Bahalio, you know, did very well in that fight. Convincingly won 3 rounds very clearly. Sean Brady, he'll stay a top 5 fighter. He won't stay. He's number 1. And Sean Brady isn't active a lot of the time. He's not a crazy active fighter. He's probably among the sense that he's got a title shot already waiting for him. And if I'm being honest, I think Sean Brady should get a title shot over Shavkat Rakhmonov. If Shavkat's on here, I'll be able to go in further detail. I think Sean Brady deserves it more. He beat a better fighter in Leon Edwards, higher ranked, number 1 contender. Shavkat beat Wonderboy and fucking Ian Gary on short notice, and had dreadful performances in both of those, honestly. The Wonderboy fight wasn't even really all that good, and neither was the Ian Gary fight. Sean Brady just 50-45 Gilbert Burns, who, in my opinion, is a little washed, a little bit. But I think the Leon Edwards one was crazy good, because at least Leon Edwards against Bilal Muhammad had moments. Like, he reversed position. Sean Brady had every amount of success in that fight after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Like, dude, he dominated the fuck out of Leon Edwards. Had probably the most control in a single round in UFC history. Joaquin Buckley, again another 170er who I believe will be a top 5 fighter at the end of the year. Joaquin Buckley, Kamaru Usman, make that fight, please. I think Joaquin Buckley probably beats Kamaru, which sucks. He's my favorite fighter of all time, Kamaru Usman, but he doesn't fight. He hasn't been active at all. Hasn't fought since UFC 294. Hasn't even been booked for a fight. His knees are getting worse and worse. It doesn't seem like he wants to fight anybody. I don't believe that he's ready for anything. And I think Joaquin Buckley, seeing Leon Edwards, what has happened to him now, that third fight with Kamaru and Leon really makes me not, super geeked about his future. Gilbert Burns will be washed. Gilbert, he might retire. I thought he retired after Sean Brady, but I guess he didn't. I think he'll retire. I think Gilbert will retire at the end of the year, or by the end of the year. I think Michael Morales beats him. I think he TKOs him. I think Gilbert Burns, at this point in his career, I don't know how many in a row that would be for him, because that would be Bilal at 288, and then Sean Brady. Or no, then JDM, then Sean Brady. That would be 4 in a row. Not a huge fan of that. Not a huge fan of that at all. I think he loses to Michael Morales in pretty decent fashion as well. Jared Cannonier, I think he will be a top 10 fighter still. Jared Cannonier will probably fight Anthony Hernandez later this year. Actually, I think he'll lose that fight. So I'll put him in the lose category. I think Jared Cannonier will lose. The asterisks there are lose again for people that have already lost this year, by the way. I don't think Jared Cannonier obviously didn't lose to Gregory Rodriguez. But I think Jared Cannonier will most likely fight Anthony Hernandez next. I think it's a number 9 versus number 7 matchup. I think that fight makes a whole lot of sense, and I think Anthony Hernandez will beat Jared Cannonier. And I don't think Jared Cannonier will fight again after that. Excuse me. But I do believe Jared Cannonier will still be in the top 10, but I can't keep him here because it's not like he's entering there and defending his position. But, yeah, I think, Henry Cejudo. Actually, I think Sean Brady won't fight. I don't know. Henry Cejudo, he'll lose again, probably. They'll probably do him versus, fucking, who's a 135er on the come up? Him and Mario Batista. I don't know. I don't think Henry fights for the rest of the year. I think Henry will stay inactive, do podcasting, come back early next year. But if he does fight again, depends entirely on matchmaking if he wins or not. Michael Chandler. Now, this one's tough, because this will leak not leak, but like, kind of give reference to what I believe Michael Chandler will do. I think Paddy Pimblett's a very tough fight for Michael Chandler. But I think Michael Chandler can definitely win it. I'll put him in the lose category just to be safe, because I think Paddy Pimblett has a very stylistic nightmare style for Michael Chandler. Very big for the division as well. Very strong wrestler. We saw how much Michael's wrestling defensive wrestling looked against Charles Oliveira. It looked dog shit. So I think Michael will probably lose. Paulo Costa, I think he probably lose by the end of the year. He'll fight once probably and lose. Like I said, Roman Kopylov and him makes a whole lot of sense. I just don't think Paulo Costa is all that good. Colby Covington won't fight at all this year. If he does, he will most likely lose. Like, if they do him versus, like, Carlos Prates or Michael Morales even, they could do him in Wonder Boy, and he would win that. But I'll just throw him in doesn't fight. I just don't think he fights. Beneil Dariush, I think he'll be a top 10 fighter. I think if him and Renato Moicano is rebooked, I think Beneil Dariush will win that. I think that he would have won in their first meeting. But yeah, I think Beneil Dariush is a top 10 contender. Jack Della Maddalena. I didn't drag him on screen, actually. I think he'll lose to Bilal Muhammad at UFC 315, kind of leaking some picks. But that's just my initial thought process as of now. I think Jack Della Maddalena, I don't know. I just don't. I think he makes bad mistakes a lot of the time. I think he makes a lot of mistakes. So, it'll just, it'll lead to his downfall. He'll pull a guillotine against Bilal Muhammad. If it stays on the feet, he obviously can knock out Bilal all he wants. But I do believe that Jack Della Maddalena will most likely make intelligence errors in the fight and lose himself the fight. Reinier de Ridder. I think he'll stay in the top 15. Or maybe he breaches top 10. I think Reinier de Ridder might beat Bo Nickel at UFC Des Moines, I believe is when they're fighting. But I'm not too sure yet on who I'm going to pick there. That's a weird matchup, because Bo Nickel is going to have the striking advantage for the most part, but Reinier de Ridder's a big fucking guy, and Bo Nickel didn't really surprise me a lot at UFC 309. Didn't look his best. Hasn't looked his best at all in his UFC career. You look at his opponents prior to that. Val Woodburn's a welterweight moving up on a week's notice. Jamie Pickett's dog shit. Cody Brundage isn't really all that good either. So, Reinier de Ridder's beating Gerald Meerschaert and Kevin Holland. He's making it look easy against them too. Like, Gerald Meerschaert wasn't easy. I take that back. But Kevin Holland was very easy. And Bo Nickel probably does that as well, but I haven't seen him do it. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen him do that to Kevin Holland. I've seen Reinier do it. Dricus, of course, this pick right here, the Khamzat pick, makes me put Dricus in the loss. I'll pull him in front because he's a champion that I believe will lose. I think Dricus, Khamzat, most likely International Fight Week. I think Dricus will lose. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Merab. I believe Merab will stay the champion by the end of the year. I think that he's just a very dominant force at bantamweight. I don't really see anyone beating him outside of Umar or Sean on the off chance that he does catch and knock him out. But, hi, Nina. What are you doing? You sneeze? Bless you. Yeah, but don't lick my hand. Merab, he's just a fucking force to deal with, man. I really do believe that he is a monster in that bantamweight division. I don't see anyone coming up that can beat him, for right now at least. I don't see anyone beating him in the first place. Let me close my door. There we go. All right, let's get right back into it. Leon Edwards. I think Leon Edwards is washed. That was a pretty quick one. Leon Edwards 2 in a row. I just think that Leon Edwards mentally isn't a fighter anymore, and he probably won't even fight the rest of the year. He probably will stay the rest of it off, but I'm just going to throw him in washed on the off chance that he does fight again and he just gets fucking murdered. Like, if him and Ian Gary fight, I, for the longest time, was a firm believer that Leon Edwards and Ian Gary would be a one-sided, very dominant fight for Leon Edwards. I'm not sure of that anymore. I think Leon Edwards will struggle with Ian Gary, considering we've seen Ian Gary actually do some very solid work against Shavkat Rakhmonov, another grappler. I think Shavkat would probably take down and murder Leon Edwards now. You know what I mean? Like, Leon does not look good anymore. He doesn't. He's shut the fuck up, bruv. Josh Emmett, top 10 fighter. I'm not sure if I'm gonna... Like, I don't know who I'm gonna pick out of him and fucking Lerone. It's a tough fight. I'll throw top 10. I think Josh is just... I think he knocks out Lerone Murphy. He definitely can. And he can also wrestle offensively, which is something we've seen Lerone Murphy try and force upon people a lot recently. Josh is not going to allow that shit to happen. And Lerone just does make defensive mistakes. He's trying to walk down. He's able to walk down Edson Barboza. Sure, you're able to do that. I don't think Lerone Murphy is a Ilia Topuria caliber fighter to outstrike and clearly outdamage Josh Emmett across 5 rounds as well. Movsar Evloev, top 5 fighter. Movsar is very good. I think he'll probably beat whoever he fights next. They might make him and the winner of maybe, I don't know. Because, like, Ilya and Max are both moving up. Maybe he just does get a title shot, but I do believe Movsar will stay in the top 5. I don't know if he gets a title shot. I think he fights probably another contender, maybe Brian Ortega if he doesn't move up, and he probably beats the shit out of him. Davison Figueiredo. I think Davison Figueiredo will lose again. I think he loses to Corey Sandhagen. I think that's a very easy fight for him to lose. The range management skills of Davison Figueiredo and just general output aren't my favorite. So I'll go with Corey Sandhagen probably. In that matchup, Rafael Fiziev. Trying to burn through some of these pretty quick. Rafael Fiziev, he talks about moving down to fucking 145. Go fringe contender. He'll probably, if he does move down, because apparently he said the weight cut was super easy for him, which it does seem like it. I think he'll probably go down, beat some guy, and then just, like, stay outside. He doesn't fight a lot, Rafael. He wasn't even all that active when he didn't tear his ACL. Davison again. What the fuck? Justin Gaethje. I think Gaethje will stay a top 5 fighter. If they book him in Islam, he loses. If they book him and Dan Hooker again, he wins. So I'll go Justin Gaethje, probably top 5. Mateusz Gamrot. Because Gamrot fights anybody. Like, he'll fight literally anybody. Dude, he might fight fucking Gaethje next. I don't know. I'll go top 10. Gamrot's a weird one because he was super active for a while, and then after the Dan Hooker fight, he hasn't fought at all, obviously. So I think Gamrot will just stay in the top 10, probably fight once this year, take some time off to recover from all the fighting he did last year, and just, chill out, relax, and all cool, and Gane. Cyril Gane. What am I going to do with you? I think Cyril Gane will lose his next fight. The Volkov performance really wasn't good at all. And it was actually very disappointing. So I'll put him in lose. Shamil Gaziev. I think Shamil will become a top 10 fighter. I think him and Sergey Spivak is a very winnable fight for him. Shocking enough. Shamil Gaziev, the Blob, Shamil the Meal Deal. I think he'll probably beat Sergey Spivak. Maybe, I don't know. He's so big, he's so fat, that it's like hard to pick against him, you know what I mean? But I think Shamil the title walk is active. And I think that he's actually very active for a fat guy. And he does have knockout power, and he can walk tubby people down pretty easily. But he did get suplexed by Thomas Peterson, to be fair. And Sergey did take down fucking Jailton Almeida. Dude, I don't know, actually. He might just stay in the top 15, maybe. I think he'll, yeah. Bobby Green, or King Green rather, he'll be retired. I'm not going to talk about him a lot. He's an old head. He'll probably fight one more time this year. He's weirdly active for a guy who gets fucking hurt a bunch. I'll go there. Anthony Hernandez. I think Anthony Hernandez, probably top 10 fighter. I think he'll probably beat Jared Cannonier, like I said earlier. Probably won't fight after that. Probably early next year is when they're going to look to get him back again. Or maybe they try and get him on UFC 320, UFC Noche. Probably try and do something there. Jamal Hill. I don't think Jamal Hill will fight again this year. Considering the fact that he's dealing with an injury with his leg again, and it said that he's ongoing, I think he's probably going to get surgery done on it again and stay out a while. Probably come back early next year. If Khalil Roundtree has a fight like without him, it doesn't really make sense to have Jamal in here unless he fights like Olberg, I guess. But Olberg's probably waiting for a title shot now. So, I don't know. I just don't think Jamal Hill's going to fight. Kevin Holland. You can literally throw him probably anywhere from here to here, and it would low-key make sense. No, except doesn't fight. He fights fucking 8 times a year. I'll throw him in fringe contender. I think Kevin Holland will fight 2 more times at least this year. Lose one of them, maybe win one of them. If they're at middleweight, he'll lose both. If they're at welterweight, he has a better chance of winning both of them, but who fucking knows with Kevin Holland. I'll just throw him in fringe contender because he's already a fringe contender wherever he fights. Max Holloway. At 155, I think he's a top 5 fighter. He already is a top 5 fighter. He got moved up like to number 4 or 5, literally earlier. He's above fucking, I think they put him above Poirier recently, so he's number like 5 or 4 actually. So I think Max is a very good fighter at 155. Not as much of a weight cut. His chin's going to be a bit more rehydrated. His brain's going to be more rehydrated. He punches harder at 155. I think Max Holloway's probably going to have a career. Dan Hooker will lose again. Not lose again. I thought Gamrot had a good chance of getting the decision, but it is what it is. I think Dan Hooker and Gaethje is a fight that makes still a whole lot of sense. If you don't do him and Gaethje, you could do him versus like Arman, maybe, I guess. If they're that dead set on Arman not getting a title shot, I think Dan Hooker makes a lot of sense here. Nasruddin Imavov, I think he'll stay in the top 15. Not top 15. I think Nasruddin will fight again. He'll probably fight Caio Borralho, possibly. Or maybe he fights, like if him and Dricus. Maybe they do him and Dricus at the end of the year. I think Nasruddin Imavov and Dricus du Plessis would be a very tough matchup for both. I'd favor Nasruddin Imavov in that fight, honestly. John Jones will be retired by the end of the year, and I mean that. I don't see him fighting again. I don't think he fights Tom Aspinall even. So, there, you have it. Manel Kape. Manel Kape is a strange one. Hold up. Because, sorry, I had to let my dog out. Manel Kape, like, who's he going to fight? If he fights Amir Albazi, he beats him very easily, right? I think that's something we can all agree with. I think we can all agree, right? But if he fights, like, a Royval, that's a tough matchup. It's a very tough matchup that he might lose. So, I don't know. I think Kape will probably enter the top 5. Book him and Amir Albazi. I think he'll beat Amir Albazi. Kai Kara France. I think he loses to Pantoja, doesn't fight for the rest of the year afterwards. Pretty self-explanatory. Kai Kara France is a tiny man. Derek Lewis. Apparently the man that's going to save the Kansas City card. He'll probably fight some blob and knock him out. I don't know. Diego Lopez. I think he'll stay in the top 5. I have to widen my thing now to have everything in there. Hold up. Oh, it showed the ad. Fuck. Alright, there we go. I had to extend it because Diego Lopez. Now, you're wondering why I have Diego Lopez here instead of in the lose, right? Because, like, that would make a lot of sense. Hold up. I'm spoiling some of the fucking fighters down there. Oh, shit. Fuck, I can't see the fighters anymore. God damn it. Hold up. Let me fucking... Oh, I fucking spoiled some shit. I'm not good at this YouTuber shit, man. Fuck. Let me F11. Hold up. F11, brother. Oh, fuck, it just showed all of them. It just, you can kind of see their little pea heads at the bottom. Fuck. Alright, we move, right? Yeah, Diego Lopez, I think he'll probably lose to Volkanovski, but I think he'll fight again and maybe win. Ian Gary. What do I think about Ian Gary, guys? Fuck. I just gave away so many of the next guys. You don't give a shit. I think Ian Gary fucking... Like, if he fights Leon, he beats him and enters the top 5, but I don't know if that's the fight they're going to make. I think Ian Gary will probably fight... Like, who's he going to fight, though, dude? It's such a, like, top-heavy division now. Ian Gary... fuck it. I'll put him in top 5. If he fights Leon Edwards, which is a matchup that's very viable now, he will enter the top 5. Leon's like, what, 3 right now? So I think that's a fight that could be very viable. Sharabutin Magomedov. I think he's out of the top 15. I think he'll be a fringe contender still. I don't think he fights a ranked fighter or becomes ranked at the end of the year either. He got dropped from the 15 after losing to MVP. They're going to feed him some bum in July in Abu Dhabi, and then another bum in October in Abu Dhabi, and then everyone's going to be happy when Shara gets a highlight reel KO again. Everything can be all as well. Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev will stay champion, I believe. I think Islam will stay the champ. Bryce Mitchell. Now listen here, brother. I think Adolf Hitler. You know, I can't say that. I gotta probably cut that out. Let's go to Renato Moicano. Renato Moicano, huh? What's up with fucking Renato? Fucking probably lose again. I don't know. I think he loses to Beneil Dariush. Probably doesn't fight much for the rest of the year. Like, he's just like... I think that his own loss is going to keep him off for a while. Brandon Moreno. Dude, like, I don't think he fights again. No, he'll fight fucking... He'll stay in the top 5. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you even do with fucking Moreno? Fucking, I'll throw him in doesn't fight. Fucking... No, he does fight. He will fight, though. Fucking, I'll throw him in top 5. Fucking Bilal. I think Bilal will stay champion. I think he beats JDM. Probably beats Shavkat if they fight him. Umar stays in the top 5. Probably beats some random jobber that they throw at him. Not jobber, but they may make Umar versus like fucking who even is like a viable match? Maybe him and Corey Sandhagen. No, they already fought. Fuck. Him and Piotr Jan, maybe. Hold up. I just realized I was all out of whack for a little bit. Maybe him and Piotr Jan, that'd be a very cool fight. If Sean O'Malley loses to Merab, he probably doesn't fight him, but, you know, Charles Oliveira, Charles the Bronx, Charles Oliveira, brother. I think he'll lose. I think if they book him in Topuria, I think he loses to Topuria. And I think if they rebook him in Arman, I think he loses again. Charles is just weird. Because, like, it depends entirely on matchmaking. If Ilya fights him, he loses. In my opinion, I think he gets knocked out. If he fights Arman, he'll lose again just because he makes dumb mistakes against wrestlers. And if he fights Islam again, he loses to Islam. Sean O'Malley. Imagine not picking me against Merab, guys. Imagine, dude. Fucking lose again. Dickhead. Listen, dude. I had to grow my beak. fucking Brian Ortega, dude. He doesn't fight. He'll come back next year. MVP. MVP fucking fringe contender. No, he'll be a top 15 guy. He'll probably fight Wonder Boy. He'll stylistically just be a fucking weird guy for him. Pantoja, I think he stays champion. Defends against Kai Kara France. Defends in December as well, more than likely. He'll probably win. Sergey Pavlovich. Blockhead will stay in the top 5. He'll probably fight fucking like a Derek Lewis, man. Not Derek Lewis. Like a fucking Waldo Cortez Acosta. They might give him and Taliesin Teixeira. Dude, Taliesin Teixeira, like Benoit Saint-Denis all the way up to fucking Pav. Paheo will lose again. Fuck. He doesn't have his belt in this photo. It's so sad. Paddy Pimblich. He'll probably become a top 10 guy. He fights Michael Chandler, doesn't fight the rest of the year, probably not the most active fella on the roster. Poirier will be retired by the end of the year. No matter if he loses or not, I don't really care, but he will be retired, a retirement fight. Prates. Listen, guys. Prates is going to be a top 10 guy. All right. But Prates is going to be a top 10 guy. Listen, they're going to book him against Jeff Neal, laid down the air. You know, this is what Jeff Neal does against every contender he's going to fight. Ian Gary pulled out first time. Neil Magny gets done with. Shavkat Rakhmonov pulls out first time. All right, fights him later. Carlos Prates pulls out first fight, gets made later, loses. I think Carlos Prates would knock out Jeff Neal. Yuri Prohaska. Unironically, I think he stays in the top 5. I don't think Yuri loses. I think him and Carlos Olberg would be a fun matchup. I think Yuri would probably beat Olberg. I don't know if it's a weird take or not. Olberg's not very good. I've said it a while, but it's weird to say out loud. Shavkat. Stay in the top 5, I guess. Shavkat versus... Actually, no, I think he'll lose. I think if Shavkat fights Bilal, I think he probably loses. I think he'll probably lose that. I already see this guy down here, and I don't need to say why he is... Well, doesn't fight because he's cut, but, you get the point. He already... Rakic is washed. He's just not winning fights. It's just, And he's not active. At all. So that's another thing. So, Yair... I don't know if he beats Patricio, but I'll throw him in the... Is he in the top 5 right now? I don't think he is. Is he in the top 5? I think he is. If he beats Patricio, he moves up. Royval. Royval is going to be injured, doesn't fight the rest of the year. Fucking deal with it, dude. Khalil stays in the top 10. They'll feed him some jobbers soon. He'll beat him Benoit Saint-Denis. Look at this fucking Muppet, bro. Look at this fucking Muppet, dude. Holy shit. He's washed, man. No, he'll lose again. He's not washed yet. Corey Sandhagen. The Sandman, bro. I think Corey will stay in the top 5. Beat Davis and doesn't fight the rest of the year. Aljo. I think Aljo retires at the end of this year, honestly. He's old. He's 36, 37. I don't know. I think Aljo will probably retire by the end of the year. Sean Strickland. Call this a crazy take. I think Sean Strickland will lose his next fight. Crazy take, I know. I think Sean's either washed or loses. I don't know. It depends on matchmaking. I think if you rebook him and Imavov, I think Imavov beats him. If you book him and Kyle Bahalio, I think Kyle Bahalio is a bad matchup for Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland just looks so bad in the sense that you're I don't even know what the fuck to do with this guy. Tatsuro Taira. I'm very happy, thank you. I don't know what to do with Tatsuro. Because, Flyweight's another weird one where it's I don't know what to fucking matchmake him with. Who does he even fucking fight? Or does he fight, even? I think he'll stay in the top 5. I think Tatsuro will probably fight someone below him. beat him. I hope, at least. Ilya. I think Ilya would be a top 5 fighter. I think he beats Charles Oliveira. More than likely. Arman. I think Arman, probably, again, a top 5 fighter. I don't know. It's a little weird. Tai Tuivasa, you're washed. Tai Tuivasa is spherical now. He is a legit globe. And I do think it does need to be mentioned for health concerns as well. He is fat. Right? Like, he is really fucking fat. And I don't think people talk about it enough. He needs to not be as fat. Carlos Ulberg. I think Carlos Ulberg loses. I think they might either give him a fucking title shot or make him fight like Yuri. I think he loses. Kamaru, retired. Please, fight or retire, man. And I think if he fights Buckley, I think he retires. And I think he'll probably... I don't know, man. You're kind of... Like, he's kind of making me mad. I love you, Kamaru, but you're fucking being a bitch. Fight. Please, I need fight news from you, bud. Win. Win at that. If you're going to fucking sit out, get a fight and win. Joshua Van. Now, let me tell you about Joshua Van, kid. I got to fucking increase the fucking size of this again. There we go. Is that fucking big enough for you guys? There we go. I just showed the fucking rest of the fucking fellas. I have to... You know what? Fuck it. We'll just look at him together. Cheeto Vera. Who the fuck? Cheeto. Cheeto will stay in the top 10. I think he beats Mario Batista. Is Mario Batista here? No, he's not. Vittori. Volk will be champion. By the end of the year, he will. Can I go back up now? No, I can't. Let me just pin these so I can actually, keep them here. Davison's here again for some reason. I don't know why. Piotr Jan. I think Piotr will lose if he fights Umar. I think he's going to fight Umar or fight for a title and lose. Song Yadong. Ugh. What do you even get? I don't think Song fights for the rest of the year. I think he's going to be an inactive fella. Johnny Walker, you're washed. Get there, please. Robert. I think Robert will lose again. Volkov. I think he loses. And Vittori is going to be washed. Where is Davison at? Davison is... I put him in lose, right? Or I put him in top 10. Where did I put Davison at? I did put him here. But then that fucking... You know what, Davison... We're going to call this flyweight Davison. He doesn't fight, right? Because it's flyweight Davison. This is my tier list of who I got heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, flyweight. These are the champs. These are who I believe can be top 5 contenders. This is who I believe will be top 10 contenders. Maybe ranked in the top 15, maybe fringe contenders. These guys are all going to lose. These guys are all going to retire or get cut. Bobby Green probably going to get cut. Doesn't fight. These guys are either... Francis isn't even in the UFC. Neither is Jairzinho. And these guys just are a bunch of pussies. Washed. I want you to look at every one of these guys' faces right here. These guys are going to be considered fully washed by the end of the year. They're going to... Listen, if I send you a photo of Leon Edwards after you ask me if the dishes are cleaned, if I wash the dishes, just know them bitches are sparkling. All right? So, yeah. I'm UFC Thoughts. This is my tier list. If you guys like content like this, I will happily make another tier list. This is actually pretty fun, especially adjusting the fucking frame of my fucking... Wait, actually, I think it's out of fucking... So you're just gonna have to deal with the fucking ad on the side, because I can't... It won't let me fucking undisplay this shit. So half of the... for a little bit, the video is just gonna be, black on that side. Oh my god, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you want to see more content, leave a subscribe so I know that you want to see it. Leave a comment down below if you agree with my rankings. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.